Students, we have taken a topic of biochemistry, that is enzymology, a very important topic. First of all, let us see what are enzymes. Enzymes, students, they are highly specific catalysts for the biochemical reactions. And always in the exam, if they ask you what is the primary action of the enzyme, never answer that enzymes, they speed up the reaction. No, enzyme actually lower the activation energy of the reaction. And when the activation energy is lowered, that's how they speed up the reaction. So the primary action is to lower the activation energy. And that's how the reaction is being accelerated. The enzymes, they are mainly classified as per their mechanism of action. We can have the oxidoreductases, transferases. So always remember, when it's an enzyme, you have a suffix of ASES, aces, like transferases, hydrolases, right? So hydrolases are the hydrolytic enzymes. Then we have the isomerases, which will catalyze the change in the molecular structure, like phosphofructoisomerase, lyases that will catalyze the bond cleavage by elimination, or the ligases. For example, we have DNA ligases that will help in joining two molecules together. Oxidoreductase, they are mainly used for catalyzing the redox reaction, like in the electron transport chain. We have the oxidoreductase. Transferases, like for example, transaminase enzyme that helps in transferring the amino group from one amino acid to another. They come under transferases. And the hydrolases, the hydrolytic enzymes, all the protein breakdown enzymes mainly are the hydrolytic enzymes that break down the hydrolytic bonds or the peptide bonds. Now let us talk about what are the components of an enzyme. Every enzyme, student, consists of a coenzyme, an apoenzyme. So coenzyme is the non-protein part of an enzyme. It could be like a vitamin, a mineral, iron. Well, the apoenzyme is the protein part of the enzyme itself. So none of the coenzyme or apoenzyme, they are functionally active. It has to be both of them together. That makes a haloenzyme, which is coenzyme plus apoenzyme, and that is going to be catalytically active. Some of the coenzymes, we have the examples of the magnesium acting like a coenzyme for hexokinase or glucose 6-phosphatase enzyme that's involved in glycolysis, or the zinc that is coenzyme for the carbonic anhydrase reaction. Now let us talk about the enzyme mechanics. So enzyme mechanics, students, you have the induced fit model. What is induced fit model? This model states that we have an active site on the enzyme, right? Let's say this is the substrate that you are seeing here, and this is the enzyme. On the enzyme, you can see this is an active site. So enzyme is going to block, the substrate is going to block the active site on the enzyme, and that will change the shape of the enzyme or the conformation of the enzyme that will produce energy. And that is going to proceed the reaction to convert the substrate into the products. That is what is called as the induced fit model. Now, when we talk about the substrate concentration, how it is changing the rate of the reaction, until the time you are increasing the substrate concentration, the rate of reaction is also increased. But there is something called as a saturation point. When you keep increasing the substrate concentration, rate of reaction is increased. But at one point, all the active site on the enzyme are completely occupied by substrate. At that point, even if you increase the substrate concentration, it's not going to increase the rate of reaction, because you already reached what is called as Vmax. Vmax is the maximum reaction velocity at which increasing the substrate concentration will not increase the rate of reaction anymore. There is something called as the Michaelis-Menten equation, students, that you should be knowing. Michaelis-Menten equation is Vi, that's the initial reaction velocity, Vmax is the maximum reaction velocity, S is the substrate concentration, Km is the Michaelis-Menten constant. So Michaelis-Menten constant is actually the substrate concentration at which the rate of reaction is half of the maximum velocity. That is the Michaelis-Menten constant. If you look at the picture here, you can see as the substrate concentration is increasing, rate of reaction is also increasing. But at Vmax, it is going to plateau. That means increasing the substrate concentration will not increase the rate of reaction anymore. The other factors which are affecting the enzyme activity, we already discussed about the substrate concentration. The second factor here is the temperature. When you increase the temperature, it's going to increase the rate of reaction. So if you look at the graph here, we can clearly see when the temperature is being increased, the rate of reaction is also increased. But what is happening if you increase the temperature too much? The enzyme is getting denatured. Once the enzyme is denatured, no, the rate of reaction, instead of increasing, it is going to get decreased. The other factor is the pH. We talk about the pH. Not a single pH, we can say, is most favorable for all the enzyme. Enzyme works in the pH that is optimal for them. So every enzyme has a specific optimal pH which is most favorable for its activity. For example, we talk about the pepsin enzyme, right? Pepsin enzyme require acid. It works in the acidic pH, the enzyme that do the partial digestion of the protein in the stomach. Now, when you're increasing the enzyme concentration, yes, it is increasing the rate of reaction until the substrate amounts are limited. And the substrate concentration, we already discussed how it's going to affect the rate of reaction. Different types of inhibitions now. We can have a competitive inhibition of the enzyme, uncompetitive, non-competitive. So competitive inhibition is the one in which the substrate and the inhibitor both are competing for the active site on the enzyme. So if you're increasing the substrate concentration, you can reverse the inhibition. That is what is competitive inhibition. Competitive inhibition, there is no effect on Vmax or maximum velocity, but Km is increased. This is the most important thing that they ask in the exam, that what happens to the Vmax, Km in these different types of inhibition. The second type of inhibition we have is uncompetitive inhibition. Uncompetitive inhibition is the inhibitor is going to bind to the active site on the enzyme only after substrate is already binding there before. So substrate has to bind first to the active site of the enzyme, and then the inhibitor will come and bind. So that is the uncompetitive inhibition. Uncompetitive inhibition, you will see both Vmax and Km are decreased. While in case of non-competitive inhibition, there is no competition between the substrate and the inhibitor, because both of them have their separate site for binding on the enzyme. In non-competitive inhibition, Vmax is decreased and no effect on Km. In non-competitive inhibition, even if you increase the substrate concentration, you cannot reverse the inhibition, because there is already a particular site, a specific site for the inhibitor. It is still going to bind on its site. Now let us talk about the allosteric regulation. Allosteric regulation happens in the presence of an allosteric enzyme. An allosteric enzyme is actually a regulatory enzyme which has both the active site for the substrate and an allosteric site for the allosteric molecule. Now this allosteric molecule can be either activator of the reaction, it can be inhibitor of the reaction, depending upon the nature of the allosteric molecule. So the effector allosteric molecule is present, it will bind to its allosteric site, and binding to the allosteric site will change the conformation for the active site on the enzyme for the substrate, and that will increase or decrease the rate of reaction or the enzymatic activity. This is allosteric regulation. Michaelis-Menten kinetics or Michaelis-Menten equation is not followed here. Of the allosteric regulation, for example, a zymogen, a proenzyme converting to its active form, like a trypsinogen converting to trypsin, is an example of allosteric regulation. You can see the picture here, how the reaction is happening, the normal reaction. You can see this is the enzyme, right? This is the active site on the enzyme. This is the substrate when it is binding to it. And then reaction occur and the product molecules are generated. Because when the substrate molecule binds with the active site or enzyme molecule, it induces a change in the allosteric site that prevents the inhibitor from binding. So that's the inhibition. You can see if the allosteric molecule is an inhibitor variety, you can see when the inhibitor molecule binds to the allosteric site, it's changing the shape of the active site. And when the change of the active site is there, the substrate can no longer bind to the active site. This is an example of a allosteric inhibition.